Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. This is Nina Erjavik, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and I want to share with you some tips for a Thoughtful Moments Hybrid Embossing folder. And it is in our mini catalog January through April 2024. So you can find that on page 18. So it does come in its own case. The dies come in a separate case, but they both fit perfectly in the case that the dies come in. It is a set of 10 plus the folder, and then you will see here that the die is all in one piece, and it has all of those wonderful sayings, and you can cut them all out in one swipe. So when you can see that the die kind of locks or snaps into place, not really physically, but it fits perfectly into place, and you can't move it. If you try to move it with your finger, you know that it is locked in place. So I like to use 6x6 designer series paper, and you can use white, you can use colored cardstock, you can even use DSP, you can use silver. Now the silver is retired, but we do have gold and lots of fun different background papers. So I am using these colors, and what I did to pick up those colors is I went to the designer series paper to pick out the designer series paper and the colors that I like, as well as here I am using a 6x6. I like to use 6x6 because it fits in the folder so nicely. I am getting our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out to do this. You do want to make sure that you wheel the die through with the fold at the top. Otherwise, you can split your folder in half, and you don't want to do that. Also, make sure that the die and the plates are nice and flush with each other. And then we're going to wheel this through. Don't be alarmed that is really hard to go through. So you're going to use the base plate number 1 and the base and the embossing folder. I believe that is number 4. Yes, and it will be hard to wheel through, and it will make a loud crunch sound. That is totally normal if you use just these 2 plates in the folder. So when you open this up, all the pieces just fall out. It is wonderful. Now this one I didn't add ink, so you just get the embossed. Now you can color these embossed pieces with a dauber. You can go in with, you can wheel over them with your oh my gosh, the wheel, the Stampin' Brayer. Oh my gosh, that word just kind of eludes me. Okay, the Stampin' Brayer, or you can just simply leave them white. Now, leaving the die on the plate or on the folder, you can go do designer series paper. Now here I put 2 glue dots on the paper, and then I realized that, oops, wait a minute, it could be within one of the sayings. So I quickly took that off, because you don't want to do that. You want to put it on the glue dots on the folder where the sayings aren't, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But as I was getting ready to close it, I was like, oh wait a minute, those glue dots are going to be stuck on one of my sayings. So I quickly ripped it off and stuck it on something on the side and got a new piece of designer series paper instead of taking the time to peel all those 2 little dots off. So here is a fresh piece of designer series paper, and now I'm going to put the glue dots actually on the folder itself where there are no words. So there it is there. Still getting used to my fingernails, so I'm going to grab my little U-pick tool, the pokey end. I just grabbed it. It's not even on its actual full U-pick tool. And I'm just going to pick up a glue dot and put it down where there are no words. Then I'm going to stick my designer series paper to the top of those glue dots. That's just going to assure that the paper is going to stay put. And you'll see why in here in just a second. So with this designer series paper, again, I chose coordinating color from the actual designer series paper that's listed on the front of the package, or on the back of the package when you get your designer series paper. So just pick a coordinating color, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So we're going to wheel this through. Again, it doesn't matter if it's cutting on the top, if the blade of the die cut is top facing or bottom facing, it still goes through quite perfectly. Just remember, the fold goes in first. And I hate to keep repeating that, but I don't want you to actually tear your folder up or split it in half because you went sideways. Now, there are some folders that you can do that way for certain reasons, but most of the time, 99% of the time, the fold goes in first. So you see it made a real loud pop there. And since I'm voicing over, you probably didn't hear that pop. But now when you turn the folder over, you can see all those pieces have cut out perfectly. Now, when you go to take the die off, you just want to make sure that those pieces stay in their place. And if they don't, you can kind of just scoot them up like I'm doing here with the Celebrate. Just scoot it back up into place, because what we're going to do is we're going to ink these particular pieces so that when you undo them, you actually have the outline of the word so that you actually can see. With designer series paper, it's a little hard to actually see what the word says because of all of the background that is in there. Yes, you do get a little inky, but you know, it's for a good cause. Now, with the brayer, it does have two little feet that keeps the brayer part up off of your surface so you don't get ink all over your work surface. So, but when you're actually inking it up, have those feet on the top pointed up towards the ceiling so you don't tear up your ink pad. And when you go to put it down on the table or your work surface, feet should be down, which is really an awesome thing. They really thought that out well. Now, this rinses off really well in the sink, just plain water, and then dry it off real good. Now, you see where all of the ink is kind of gathering? It is okay. It's not going to be on your pieces. Now, some of your pieces will get ink where it's not supposed to, but that's the beauty of this, because you can do it as many times as you want. So you can ink that up. And I go both ways to make sure that my ink, my brayer is well inked. Make sure to get those little edges on the end, because there's some parts of the word that's really close to the fold. So you want to make sure that those are really inked up well. The thinking of you, the left part of the T, tends not to want to ink. So make sure that you get that inked really well. So any letters that are along the outside perimeter of the folder, make sure you ink really, really well. Don't worry about the ink on my glass mat. It will wipe up really easy, which is the beauty of this glass mat. It is a special for new demonstrators coming in. It does come with this wonderful chamois, so it just wipes right off. So it is amazing. I love this glass mat. I am so glad Stampin' Up! Came out with it. If you're a demonstrator, hopefully you'll be able to get that in March, but they did reserve enough for new demonstrators coming into the Stampin' Up! Family. This is my chamois that came with it. However, it is a little dry, so I'll get that wet here in a bit, but it's reusable and it rinses out really nicely. So now we're going to take the top paper off so that you can see all of these wonderful sentiments that you have. So you will be ready to make any kind of card that you'd like, from thinking of you to sympathy to oh happy day to celebrate, all kinds of fun sentiments all in one swipe. So just have fun with it. So now you can see love you, thinking of you, celebrate. I think there's a happy birthday in there somewhere. I just put it away, but because this is a voiceover. But this is so much fun, and I just suggest you get this and you just sit and play. You could use sponge daubers to color them in. You could use, like I'll show you here in a little bit, you can use Stampin' Blends. It's so fun. So just make up a bunch of them and put them in a stamp case, and you have lots of sentiments to go. Okay, so I'm going to take these glue dots off since we are finished with the glue dots. So that we can move on to some more fun things to show you with this folder. So those things we can just throw out. And now we're going to go and do it again. So we're going to make sure that the die fits on the folder where it doesn't move. I had a second thought there. I was going to do something else. But first, I want to show you the silver paper. The silver paper has been retired. However, we do have gold foil in the catalog currently. And who knows, you may even have silver foil in your stamping stash. So I don't know any of us that don't have some kind of foil in there, right? So again, we're going to use our 1 and our number 4, making sure that the fold is at the top and goes into the machine first, and that everything is flush to each other. I'm going slow because I don't want it to pop, and I know it kind of jiggles my camera a little bit, and I'm sorry about that, but you know, that's the fun of doing the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. So now you will see how beautiful the foil is when it's cut, and you don't even need ink for this one. It just shows up so beautifully. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. So I can't wait to get more foil so that I can do more of those. So that is for the foil. I'm throwing those pieces away. I'm not putting them on the floor. There's a garbage can to my left. So now, let's see what we're going to do. We are going to ink it up. Now, there's the brayer. It already has ink, so I'm going to go ahead and still use Pretty Peacock because that is the one I have out on the table. And again, it goes perfectly with my Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series paper. And a couple of other Designer Series papers that I have. So again, you're going to ink up now on the left side of the folder where the Stampin' Up! Logo is. So you can ink up really well, making sure to get those edges of those letters that are out on the outer perimeter of the actual folder to make sure that they ink up well. But you can also do this as well with just a single one, like we did the thank you in silver. You can also pick any one of those sayings out and just put a strip of paper over the top, either by white and then inking up like this and just inking up the sentiment that you want. So I'm inking it up and making sure all of my letters are got some ink on them. Don't worry about the ink on the inside in between the letters. Just be careful when you put your die down that you don't touch your letters because they are freshly inked. And this part you kind of want to move a little bit quickly because you don't want the ink to dry. Actually, we're going to put it on the die, and then we're going to close it up. And then hold on to that tight so your paper doesn't shift. Now you can use a glue dot trick as well to hold your paper down, but you know, it's pretty easy to keep hold of it so it doesn't move. And you see that I turn so that the fold side goes in first and everything is flush to the sides. Wheel it through. So any color cardstock, any color ink, you know, it's limitless as to what you can do with this, and it is so fun. You'll just keep doing it, and then you'll have all of these sayings in different colors. Okay, so there it is. We're going to peel those up again. Now that's got ink on it, so you want to be careful not to set it down on a surface that, like on a finished card, that would not be good. But now your sayings have an outline. And this is on colored cardstock. This one is Pool Party with Pretty Peacock ink. I'm going to set these aside because they are inky. Oh, happy day. It is so much fun. I can't tell you how much fun this is. It's so fun. I'm just going to put it back in there so I don't get ink all over. And remember too, when you put it down, you must keep your blades up. So your blades are actually touching your paper. You don't want it to cut into your die or into your folder. I'm going to re-ink again. And this time I'm going to do it with white cardstock. So again, making sure that all of the letters are covered with ink, and some of them are really thin. So I like to turn the folder around so that I can get all the edges and all the words. And those are the ones that are the trouble areas because they're very thin. It's a thin font, so and they're on the edge of the folder. So, in comes the die again. Remember, cut side up, the blade side up, and just give it a little wiggle and it will go into place. Okay, and that's what that test is right there. And then I'm going to get the white cardstock. Again, 6x6. I like to use 6x6 because then I make sure if I'm doing all of the words. If I'm only doing one word, then of course I'm going to cut it down to size, like I did with the silver foil. Again, I'm going to make my sandwich of number 1 and number 4 with the die and the folder on the inside, fold side going in first. Hopefully me constantly telling you, you will never ever put the other side in first. And then wheel that through. And then I'm going to show you another trick. So there is all kinds of ways to do this, and I just encourage you to just get it and have fun with it because it is so much fun. All right, so yes, you will get ink all over. Alcohol does take that off. Soap and water, obviously. Baby wipes I always have next to me so that I can always wipe my hands constantly. And then there are all of my pieces. I throw the extra paper out. And then check this out. So now I have all of these wonderful sayings that are just inked in color. But here's what I did. I did them in, I did one in Night of Navy. And I colored it with Flirty Flamingo. But I'm showing you here where there's that paper that I stuck. On your designer series back paper, on the back there is this one is the Fresh as a Daisy, but at that what I'm showing you here, those are all the colors that coordinate or that are in that designer's paper. That's how I came up with the color ink that I'm using. So definitely do many of these in different colors depending on your designer series paper. And then colors that coordinate with your designer series paper so that those letters really shine through. I put all of my little cut pieces in this stamp case, which you can buy. I don't think it shows in the catalog anymore, but I can, if you're interested, let me know. So I did take one of those papers, one of those sayings, the hello, that I stamped in Night of Navy, and I used my Flirty Flamingo, and I colored in, trying to color just really close to the line, but not touching the line. And I didn't want to bore you by coloring the whole thing, so I colored most of it, and I'm just filling in what I did not color. And now you have a two-toned outlined hello for any card that you want to make. So the possibilities are endless with all of our markers and all of our Stampin' Blend. So there's my hello. So now all of these I'll put in that stamp case, and they are ready for me to make a card with. So I'm really excited that you joined me today. Now I want to show you how easy it is to clean this up. This is actually a cream puff container that works perfectly in my stamp room. I just poured some water in there, and you just rinse these out. You can take them to your sink and just rinse them with water and dry them really good when you go to put them back into the case. I will do an organization video later to show you how I store everything. I know I've done it before, but I want to kind of revisit that as well. But just make sure it's nice and clean and nice and dry, and put it back in its case, and you're ready for the next time you want to play. The same way with the die. I just rinsed it off, and now I'll dry it and put that away as well. So if you have any questions on anything that you've seen, please DM me, comment at the bottom of this video wherever it is being posted. I'm also using the chamois to dry that off, which is a great use of the chamois. That actually came with my class mat. So that is in the back of your celebration folder, so anybody who joins can get that class mat as part of their kit. And that is a 3-piece glass mat that I'm so glad I got. It makes life so easy. All right. So we're good to go on that. I'm just going to clean up my glass mat surface, and I'm ready to go make cards with all of those sayings that I've just done. So this glass mat also comes with this little palette. You can use it for watercolor. You can use it to put those 4 little places, hold your ink spots. The chamois also comes with it. And that is part of your kit for joining. Now this is only good until the end of February. So if you want to get this glass mat for your craft room, absolutely. I would gladly welcome you into my team, into my Stampin' Up! Family. I did another video on this glass mat too, so you can always check that out as well. We are in celebration, so for every $50 you spend, you get to pick something out of the celebration catalog. Here is my host code, so if you do see that you want to purchase something, there is a host code for you to use. I do give things away, and my website is there as well. And then there are all of the little pieces that I made, so now I'm ready to go make some cards. All right, questions, let me know. We'll talk soon. Thanks for joining. Oh, one more thing. Here are the extra dies that came with the all those sayings. So lots of little embellishments that you can do. So comment below if you have any questions. Thanks so much and have a great day.